Starship to help power the most powerful vehicle ever designed. If we do hold, we have a built-in hold gate at T-minus 40 seconds. We can hold there for about 30 minutes or so today. If we need to wait for final pressure checks or for if we have anything on the range, anything like that. Did just get that the range is green, so we are coming up 5 minutes and 20 seconds away. We are not planning to hold at T-minus 40 unless we trip some kind of hold alarm, something like that. So we could blow right through that gate and go right to launch. Don't be shocked if we hold at T40 though, and if we do, we can hold for a couple of minutes and then keep going. Our window is open all the way until 9 a.m. today.
Now, once we pass through T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems will come up to flight pressure, and the ship will go to internal power.
Now, after that, the quick disconnect arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. Gas lines connected to the booster and ship are vented down, and once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened and if we can proceed again to T0.
However, once the water for the deflector system begins flowing at T-minus 10 seconds, any issue after that would be an automatic scrub for the day, as teams would need to refill the deflector's water tanks, as well as the lock storage tanks at the tank farm before making another attempt. So, as Dan mentioned earlier, we are not planning to hold at the optional T-minus 40-second mark. That moment basically is what would allow teams to wait for final checkouts or assess prop levels or avionics, vehicle pressurization, the range, the weather. Weather is 95% go, as you can see from these incredible drone views that we have and pad cams. It is a beautiful day. Of course, we have some clouds billowing from the locks there.
Yeah, and again, a reminder that the payload for this mission is data, and our primary goal is to get ship through the extreme heat of reentry today. We're very excited to see that. We did get very close on Flight 4, so I'm excited to see how these iterations that we've made to the vehicle will help improve our chances of success today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I want to remind you that today, during Starship's 5th test flight, unlike the previous one, we'll try to catch the first stage booster with our Mechazilla system. Mechazilla represents a significant leap in SpaceX's reusability efforts. Instead of landing on legs or a drone ship, the booster will attempt to position itself between the tower's arms. If successful, this method could dramatically reduce recovery time and costs. The system uses a pair of chopstick-like arms to stabilize and catch the 230-foot-tall booster. It's a high-stakes maneuver that requires precise timing and coordination. Today's attempt, if successful, will mark a major milestone in SpaceX's journey toward fully reusable rockets.
And we just heard the call out there that all prop load is closed out. So at this point, there is like 10 million pounds of propellant on board Starship, which is incredible.
This is getting very exciting. We are just about 2 minutes away from T0.
And as Jesse just said, we are under 2 minutes away. So prop load is complete. All the fill drain lines into ship and booster have closed. Right now we're doing the pushback, so clearing out all those ground lines of propellant, and that'll be completed over the next couple of seconds. We're coming up on that T-minus 40 mark. Again, not planning to hold. If we do, or if we get a hold after we pass it, we can snap back to that T-minus 40, and then we can stay there for about 30 minutes or so if any other issues crop up. Once we pass T-minus 40, a lot of things
faster
happen,
than returning
both on the vehicle
than returning the launch vehicle right back to the launch site where it needs to be in order to launch again.
And pressure lines throughout
For today's booster catch attempt, while there are thousands of criteria that need to be met, there are 3 primary
to take all of those actions, which is why we hold there. But all of that happens automated. You do a final checkout of the, and then we see liftoff. So we're under a minute away. 45 seconds and counting.
Good event, game met.
All right, now as we close in, we are past the 40-second mark. So let's listen in.
Flight director is
Ty
go to launch.
Huntington's going to take us through one more time for a Starship liftoff.
T-minus 15.
The 5th test flight of Starship is launching right now. Go Starship!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
And change your life for the best. These are the most important words I want to say to you at our event dedicated to the launch of the Starship 5. No. Dear viewers, I am glad to welcome you at your magnificent event, the launch of the Starship 5. It marks the immense progress on the road to space, the vivid proof that we as humans
upon its return. And that's basically a brief thunder-like noise that we hear when an aircraft or other object travels faster than the speed of sound. Anyone that has been in the area for a Falcon 9 land landing in Florida or California, or even some space shuttle landings, may have heard one of these.
Generally, the only impact in those surrounding areas of a sonic boom is the brief noise, with variables like weather and distance impacting if or how the sonic boom is heard. Here's a brief look at how these sonic booms look and sound on Falcon.
I know a lot of people will be excited when they hear the sonic boom.
And these are going to provide quite a show because you're going to hear those sonic booms.
Booster landing leg deployed.
That sonic boom is great for us.
That thunderclap broke the sound barrier.
Side booster separation confirmed.
Just heard the 2 sonic booms here in the room.
Booster landing confirmed.
As our test flights continue, we plan to demonstrate ship-to-ship propellant transfer, which will be important in preparation for Starship taking astronauts to the moon as part of NASA's Artemis program. SpaceX will perform one uncrewed demonstration flight before NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which will be the first human surface expedition since 1972. Also, in preparation for missions to the moon and Mars, we're gaining tons of knowledge from our human spaceflight missions, including free flyer flights like our recent commercial astronaut mission, Polaris Dawn.
Polaris Dawn was the first of up to 3 missions in the Polaris program, which is demonstrating new technologies, conducting extensive research, and will culminate in a flight of Starship with humans on board.
After nearly 5 days in orbit, Dragon and the 4-person Polaris Dawn crew safely splashed down on September 15th off the coast of Florida, completing the first human spaceflight mission of the Polaris program. The Polaris Dawn crew performed some incredible firsts during their mission. Dragon and the crew reached 1,408.1 kilometers, the highest Earth orbit ever flown, and the farthest humans have been from our planet since the Apollo program.
The crew also performed the first ever commercial EVA, or extravehicular activity. And as you can see there, they were wearing the new EVA suits that we developed here in-house. This was an incredible moment to see Jared and then later Sarah emerge and perform this EVA with Earth behind. Now, in addition to this incredible spacewalk, they also conducted about 36 research studies and experiments from 31 partner institutions, including NASA. And in addition to all of that, they also tested Starlink laser-based communications in space. The data gathered from Polaris Dawn missions is invaluable, much like the data that we're going to see after today's flight test of Starship. So we're coming down to T-minus about 7 minutes. Let's check in with Dan.
Hey, thanks, Kate. So yeah, we're right at about 7 minutes away from launch. The main thing we are still working is that range clear. Again, we have to make sure boats, airspace, everything is cleared out of the way for our ascent corridor, basically the Gulf of Mexico, where we're launching through before we can actually launch. And so we're working on clearing out just a few more boats. We do have a window, remember. So if we end up holding at like a T-minus 40 seconds, we can hold for several minutes, allow those boats to get out of the way, and then we can launch. Our window is from 7 to 7:30 Central, so we don't have a huge amount of time today, but we do have some margin if we need to work with it to still get off the ground today. For now, though, we're coming up on finishing prop load on both vehicles. Header tanks are pretty much topped out on the ship. Those are going to be used for its landing burn. And again, we're going to be closing out all of the prop load at about T-minus 3 minutes, 20 seconds for the ship, and then just 30 seconds later for booster. One kind of cool thing to talk about, so the folks in launch control behind me, after liftoff, they're going to have some pretty special tasks today if we're going to go through with the catch. They're going to be doing some really detailed inspections just visually of all of the different tower systems, a lot of those things that we upgraded, just to make sure that we are in the right posture to actually proceed with the catch. So they'll be working kind of fast and furious behind the scenes to inform the flight director's manual command to send the booster back. So if we hear that command being sent, that's going to be just the roof's going to come off. That's going to be a really exciting moment. So otherwise, if we don't go today, as you guys talked about, there is a chance, and if we don't send the booster back, we'll do a landing burn and a splashdown in the Gulf. And then that's just another landing burn to
Starship Flight Test
gather
5.
more data, learn more lessons from, and then we'll come back and try the catch again on the next one. But as of right now, we're coming up on 5 minutes. There is a chance that we'll hold or extend into the end of our window, so don't be surprised if that ends up happening. But if those boats do get out of the way, we are just about 5 minutes away from launch.
Just
So
look at that view.
I'll check back in just a moment,
Looks
but back over to you, Kate
amazing.
and Jesse.
Thanks, Dan. Our rapid iterative development approach has been the basis for all of SpaceX's major innovative advancements, including Falcon, Dragon, and Starlink.
Liquid oxygen
Today,
loading on
we're testing
both
hardware and systems,
the
and we need to
Starship
know how they
and
perform
Super
under
Heavy
the most
booster.
extreme conditions.
And
We'd much rather find
next up
the
will
bugs
be
now during
having
testing
go for
than later
launch,
on when there's
or
more
no
on the
go.
line. And
Hopefully
to
we'll
reiterate,
go
we do not, while we do determine an acceptable level of technical risk on our vehicle and pad in order to learn as fast as possible, we accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public or our team. So that is to say, this is only the 5th of many future flight tests of Starship before it becomes fully operational.
You might remember the Starlink panels that are incorporated into Starship, and you can see them there on your screen, those rectangular panels
from
on
above
Starship's
of the
nose cone.
gorgeous
Starlink brings us
ship
the
version.
epic views in space and on re-entry, and
Looks
also helps
so
deliver us the
beautiful.
critical flight data
And
engineers
hopefully
need
this
to continue
time
development.
we won't have
In
flaps
addition to
falling
enabling
off
our rapid
during
iteration
the
on
descent.
Starship, Starlink is also enabling life-saving communication
That
here
probably
on
won't
Earth.
happen
SpaceX is sending
because
tens of
they
thousands
have
of
added
Starlink kits in
more heat
response to
tiles to
hurricanes Helene
the wing
and Milton,
flaps.
and providing free service through
Ooh,
the
there
end
we've
of the
got
year to support recovery
grid
efforts.
fins.
The Starlink team also worked with T-Mobile to
Very
activate
good.
our direct-to-cell satellites to provide basic texting on
Super Heavy
T-Mobile
booster
and
really
emergency
looks like
alerts for all phones and
a
carriers
bigger,
of those in affected areas. If a phone connects to a
bigger
Starlink
Falcon 9
satellite, it will
booster,
have
but
1 to 2
without
bars
the
of
landing
signal
legs,
and show
because of
T-Mobile
course it's going to
SpaceX in
land
the network name.
in
SpaceX's direct-to-cell
in
constellation
the
has
catch
not
arms
been
or
fully deployed,
the
so
chopsticks
these services are being
are gonna catch
delivered
it.
on a best-effort
It
basis.
doesn't need to have landing
Starlink
legs.
is enabling life-saving communication here on Earth
T-minus 3
and
minutes.
continues to help us push the limits in space. In the short term, by providing great views and real-time data on our next few flights, particularly through re-entry, which historically is a blackout period for all communications.
All right, so we're coming up on 2 minutes 30 seconds away from launch. We were hearing like there's a pretty good chance we were going to hold the T-minus 40 seconds, but surprise, now it sounds like we might not be. So we are just a little over 2 minutes away, so a couple more things going to be happening. We did just close out our propellant load on the ship and the booster, so 10 million pounds of propellant on that vehicle on the pad here at Starbase, getting ready to go. We're going to start clearing out all of the lines that are basically pushing all of that propellant to the vehicles. Those get cleaned out or cleared out on the ground before we lift off. We're doing some final checks on the vehicle, the thrust vector control that we're going to use to steer it, as well as the guidance system doing its final alignment, just a lot of our final checkouts. But we are starting to hear that it looks like the range is going to be clear.
We're just
at our
1 minute and
liftoff
30
time
seconds
of
away from
7:25 a.m.
Starship
Central,
Flight 5
12:25
launching.
UTC. So that puts
Way
us 1
earlier
minute
than
20 seconds away from
thought
launch.
it was. Because first
Still
we thought
not
like
tracking
end of
any
November,
technical
but
issues. That range
no, and
clear is
now
the
we
only
are
thing
launching
that's
now.
been potentially poking at our launch. So I'm going to start to quiet down. We'll hear our flight director for today, Tristan Pierce, give some of the final call-outs. As of right now, we are 1 minute away from liftoff.
T-minus 1 minute.
Flight directors, go for launch.
Go for launch. We are officially launching. Starship Flight 5. We are launching today in 20 seconds.
Best words you could possibly hear, 20 seconds away from liftoff.
There we go. Here we go. T-minus 10 seconds. 7,
T-minus
7,
5,
6,
4,
5,
3, 2, 1.
1.
We have liftoff.
Liftoff of Starship Flight 5. Here we go.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Wow. Just look at the flames.
Booster
Already
engine
1
pressure
kilometer up.
normal.
A gorgeous view of the Space Coast.
30 seconds into the
Hear
flight,
those
the Rumbles
engines
just starting to
roar.
reach us here at launch control.
Insane. Almost supersonic here.
Booster and ship,
That
avionics
is the
power,
sound
telemetry nominal.
of 33 Raptor engines.
Beautiful. We're now 1 minute into the flight, and we're almost reaching supersonic speeds. Next up is
Now
going to
pass
be
through the
Max Q.
maximum aerodynamic pressure, the most
Now we
thrust
just
the
heard
vehicle's
the
gonna
call
see on
out
the way
for Max
uphill.
Q. T plus 1 minute 15 seconds. Already 15 kilometers up.
All right,
Wow,
our
just
next,
look
our next
at
major
that.
milestone coming up. It's
Super
going to be
heavy
hot
boosters
staging. We're going to
are
see the
so
engines
amazing.
ignite on ship to push it away from the booster.
As they're saying, hot staging is next. That means they are going to fire the engines before separating, and then they separate. Hopefully it's gonna go well, and if it goes well, sooner we're gonna see a go or no go for catch attempt.
All right, so hot staging is going to be the next thing coming up. First, we're going to see the booster's engines start to shut down.
And it's shutting down the
All but
engines
3.
soon.
We're going to do what's called
Just
most
look at
engines cut off instead of main engine cut off, because 3 are going to keep going.
Insane.
And then we're going to see the engines on ship ignite.
Almost at hot stage.
Right now, the tower team is doing their go, no go. And we might hear some really good words soon, too. All right.
Yes, soon we're gonna hear go or no go for catch attempt.
Can still see it up behind me. That is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life. Coming up on hot staging next.
Hot stage. Hot stage.
Ship engine
Oh,
start up.
Most
there we go.
engines cut off.
Stage separation.
Oh, We have a successful
Booster
Stage
booster.
separation. hot
staging
stage
was successful.
Separation confirmed.
There we
Ship
see
under
the
its own power. I'm seeing
ship
6
under
out
own
of 6
power.
Raptors lit. Hopefully, I got a booster on the way back to me. I'm going to send it to you guys in Hawthorne.
Hopefully we
Oh
will get
man, that was absolutely
Hopefully we'll
incredible.
get
I loved how the crowd
the
crowd here in
boost-
Hawthorne
go
all went
for it.
ooh at that first view of the blue
For booster
flames
catch.
from the booster. As you can see there, first stage currently performing, or excuse me, is now making its way back to the launch site. Again, we are
Ship avionics power and telemetry nominal.
the booster and the tower are both performing automated checks to make sure we are go for the booster to return
Hopefully
to
we'll
the
get
launch
go.
pad for that catch. And once those are complete, the flight director
Boost back burn shutdown.
booster burn
Flight
shutdown.
directors go for booster
There
return.
we go. Next message
And
will be go
we
no go
did hear
for
that the
catch.
tower is go for catch. So
Go for
that
catch.
was one of the big criteria
Here we
were
go.
looking for.
We are go for a catch attempt. Here we go. This is so
We'll
exciting.
wait to hear that the go for catch has been sent.
We are almost.
beautiful view here from the ship.
Looks so
And so
stunning.
exciting to hear that we got a go for booster catch. That means it's going to be a really exciting morning.
There we
Again,
go.
the booster,
Booster
is
catch,
making its
go
way
for booster
back
catch.
towards
Let's
now
go.
land in order to make that catch attempt in the tower.
So incredible to see these views. You can see the ship on the right-hand
Wow.
side of your screen. All 6 Raptor
There it
engines
goes.
are under full power.
Looks amazing.
Once again, the ship, or excuse me, the booster is making its way back to the launch site. We are going to try and catch it using the chopsticks on the launch
We have to
tower, the
go
exact same tower that it just launched from just, wow, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and the booster.
Starship on nominal
And guys,
trajectory.
I can confirm the command was sent for the booster to come back.
That is
So I'm
incredible
looking
news.
up right now.
We are going to
It's
see a
pretty
catch
much right
attempt
overhead
today.
of us, and we can see it starting to come down.
First Starship catch attempt. Will they
I
successfully
can't
catch
wait
the
for us
booster?
to hear the sonic boom
Or
through Dan's mic.
Will we
Right.
just see
That is going to
a
be
flattened
incredible.
tower?
It was so cool to hear the liftoff.
I
And
hope
so once
the tower
again,
doesn't get flattened to the
a
ground.
successful on-time liftoff of Starship
Which it
Flight
shouldn't
5.
be.
The ship has separated from the booster. The booster is there on your screen. It is making its way back to the launch site. We are going to attempt the catch using the chopsticks. We did hear the confirmation that the command was sent to the tower. We are go for catch.
Go for catch.
And in
Here
order
we
to
Guys,
go.
we should just be about 30 seconds away from our landing.
30 seconds from.
It's going to happen in 3
Oh my
phases. We're going to land 13 engines burning
Here we
off all
go.
that velocity. Oh, we can see it coming
Here we
down
go.
through the plume.
Oh my god.
Booster coming in hot for booster catch.
Here we
Night
freaking
13
go.
of those Raptor engines, and this view
We're
is
gonna-
incredible right now. You can see how fast this
And
vehicle is moving
we have
on the left hand.
landing burn starting. Here we go.
Landing burn has
13
been
engines.
ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks.
Booster
now
catch.
in the air.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, we have a successful landing. Booster catch is successful. Let's go.
This is absolutely insane. On the first ever attempt,
Amazing.
we have successfully caught the super heavy booster back at the launch tower.
What an incredible view!
Are you kidding me?
Amazing from SpaceX. We have a successful
Dan,
catch.
I don't know about you, but we're losing our stuff up
Starship
here.
is terminal bed.
This is absolutely amazing.
I'm sorry, say, like, even at this day and age, what we just saw, that looked like magic. Oh, wow.
This is just out of this world. Just, oh my god.
Folks, this is a day for the engineering history books.
Yes, this will be in the engineering history books.
This is a live view of the Super Heavy booster
I still
as
can't
it has
believe
just
it.
been successfully caught back at the very
It's
same
caught.
launch tower that it just came from.
Like, no way.
Dan, I love this. You
This
are
actually
reflecting
happened.
exactly what everybody else here in Hawthorne,
Oh my God.
except maybe a little bit more because you got to see it with your own eyes.
How was that?
We got it. I mean, like, like. I can't even describe that. Oh, by the way, ship, main engine cut off, ship's in orbit, but I am like shaking right now. That was.
Yeah,
Shaking.
this is not,
Yeah,
I mean,
let's check in on ship.
it's hard
Yeah,
to
it's a ship.
believe that.
Starship nominal
We're s-
orbit insertion.
We were so
Oh,
focused.
right. Exciting
We
news
were
there. It's hard to believe that, you know, booster isn't the only excitement that we have today. Just confirmation
also
there.
have
A gorgeous
Starship
view of planet Earth
nominal
behind
performance.
the ship.
Saved.
And it is now in the orbit that we expected it to. This is just an incredible day. Live views there as the booster vents, some pressures there. That is a live view from the top of the tower looking at the chopsticks.
I am still in disbelief. I'm trying to catch my tears just like the chopsticks caught the booster. It has been nonstop since liftoff. And we are all so excited about everything that's been happening so far this morning. With the booster having completed its job for today,
This
we
day
are
has
going
just
to take
turned
a
from
short
good to
break
amazing.
for the next 30 minutes.
Oh
We'll
my
return
God.
back at T plus 40 minutes while the ship continues to coast before re-entry.
Oh man, and as with previous flights, Starlink may actually enable us to talk with the ship through re-entry with no communication blackout.
Wow.
We of course are still testing Starlink during this phase of
Starlink.
flight, so nothing is certain. But
Starlink
if
is
we do have
amazing.
views, we'll be sure to bring those to you live.
Views or no
Just
views,
look
we'll
at
see
it.
you back here at T plus 40
It's
minutes
the-
for
they-
coverage
they
of Starship's
catched it.
re-entry, flip
Oh my
maneuver,
God.
landing burn, and
This is so
splashdown.
amazing. Wow. No words. 2 million people are watching. There we see it. Look at Earth from up there. You're seeing the booster hang up there. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's stunning. It's stunning to look at. Oh my god. Still shake. This is just amazing. In I think about 1 hour we will see the we will see Starship re-enter. Well, I will turn my mic off for a little bit whilst we wait for Starship progress or landing and re-entry. So yeah, see you later. I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
Check this out. B5? You know what I like? I like a good old-fashioned Greek gift. So there's a tactic in chess where you can take on h2 if it's only protected by the king. King takes, knight jumps, and then the queen goes. The problem is that the bishop is covering. So what if I go here? With pawns not getting insane. Next opponent. Next opponent, I believe, plays. Are we going to and bring the queen in a half minute? Stay. C6. I gotta. Practice. He didn't leave in the wrong attacking the queen. Of course.
crypto exchanges such as Coinbase. Your own fraction of the treasure just by scanning the QR code you see on your screen now. Make a deposit and get it doubled within minutes.
Samen met
welcome back to Starship's 5th flight test. It has been an exciting day so far. The crowd here is still so excited. We lifted off from Starbase at 7:25 a.m. Central Time. The Super Heavy booster and ship had a successful separation, as well as a good boost back burn and good separation of the hot stage adapter. The Super Heavy booster then completed the landing burn with 13 Raptor engines igniting and slowing down the vehicle perfectly for Mechazilla to catch the Super Heavy booster for the first ever land recovery of the vehicle.
Now, it is insane to think that we're not done yet. We still have, in about 48 minutes, the ship will re-enter. The flap, all the flaps that will today, not that could. The ship will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Now, as a reminder, one of the main goals of today's test flight is for the ship to make it through the extreme heat of re-entry and to do so in a controlled manner. We learned a lot about this phase during Flight 4 and, as a result, completely reworked the heat shield, but more on all that in just a minute. Now, re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with the spacecraft because re-entering, it'll be re-entering at about 8 meters kilometer, or
Maybe with
8
Starlink
kilometers
we
per
can,
second, or about 5 miles
like
per
they
second,
like they
orbital
did
velocity.
and tried
Now,
with
those speeds, the
Flight 4.
spacecraft moving through the atmosphere results in friction and creates a
If I'm
plasma
wrong.
field around the vehicle. We saw this in action on Flight 4 thanks to Starlink, and wow, it was breathtaking. The blanket of plasma ends up distorting communication frequencies, so it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication, but hopefully that's not the case today.
And Kate, that's where Starlink has just kind of been just the unsung hero and the MVP of this test campaign. I mean, it's able to give us data, not just awesome video, but also data in real time as we're going through reentry. I mean, this is something that throughout the history of spaceflight just hasn't been possible. And this is an environment that is so unforgiving, so hard to model, so hard to understand. And for the first time ever, we're able to literally watch as it unfolds in real time, get that data in real time. And we're able to do that with Starlink. And it's great for us because we get to see something, we get to see the greatest light show on the planet or off the planet. But what it means for this program, we're able to learn tremendous amounts about our heat shield, our angle of attack, everything that we're doing as we're coming in through the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. And it's, you can't just thank it enough. And also special shout out, you're gonna see some additional flap camera views. We've got a really amazing team of avionics, cameras, electronics, software people who made all that possible. And so hopefully they're going to give us an even better show on the way in today as we're coming in at about 5 times the speed of sound.
Yeah, those flaps, Dan, that you see there, that's what's helping.
Starship is in a good attitude for entry, approaching the entry interface.
We are approaching re-entry.
Some good call-outs there, preparing for re-entry for Starship. And again, that's what Dan was mentioning, those flaps on the vehicle. And if you've been watching us for the last few minutes, you could see that the flaps were rotating around and helping orient the vehicle as it prepares for the beginning of re-entry today.
Yeah, exactly. Re-entry will be enabled by that heat shield that you see on the bottom half. That heat shield is made up of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles, and they are designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry. At that point in time, temperatures can be as high as 26,000 degrees Fahrenheit or about 1,400 degrees Celsius. The design itself also permits for rapid reuse with no refurbishment between the flights. And fun fact that I think is just incredible in terms of scale, but the heat shield alone on the ship has a total mass of 10.5 tons, which is crazy because these things are really lightweight. They're made out of ceramic.
Yes,
We have a couple of them
ceramic.
here. The one that
Kind
I'm
of like
holding is used on
glass
flat
like.
surfaces, as let's see if we go that way, because as it's flat, the one that Jesse has is kind of more what you see there on the side.
Yeah, exactly. And having these different
The
shapes, the flat version and the
the
curved version,
we
allow us to
there
cover
are a lot of
more surface
heat
area
tiles,
of the
and
vehicle.
with
Again, we need to
re-entry
protect
starting
every
soon
portion
in
of it.
2 kilometers,
Even
we
those
will
curved
see if
surfaces, and
with
especially
the
the hinge
tile
area.
reinforcements
If
if
you watch Flight 4, is really what we
re-entry will
want to
go
make
better
sure
than
we
last time,
protect.
because last time
And
the
yeah, Kate, these are
like the
very,
whole
very
flap just
lightweight.
When you put
burned off. Oh,
18,000
and
of
we
them
have
together,
started
they add up
re-entry.
to 10.5 tons, which
You
is
can see the
incredible.
plasma
Now,
forming
we did
there.
mention earlier that the heat shield has been
Wow.
completely reworked.
Look
The
at
booster
that
remains on a nominal entry
view.
trajectory.
We can start to see that plasma now starting to
The
build up on the
plasma
side.
is
It's not
so
quite full plasma yet,
it looks
but we
beautiful.
are starting to see
Plasma.
that color indicate that the
Ooh.
heat is building up on the heat shield.
Yeah, this is such a cool sight to see because you really never really have gotten to see this live before.
Wow.
Before flight.
We are seeing this
Yeah.
thanks to Starlink.
And as Kate mentioned,
Live
it's getting
re-entry.
a little more red,
Wow.
as you can see there on your screen. That means that heat is
Get more
building
red.
up. But that's
You
exactly what
can
these heat shield
see
tiles
it's
are
not
there for,
slowing
to
down yet.
protect
So,
against this
but that
plasma and
will
this really,
mostly
really
only
extreme
happen
heat that the
start
vehicle is going
happening
to
at
see
around
for
80
the
kilometers
next
because
10
there
more minutes or
the
so.
air
Yeah, so the ship will
I don't know how to
attempt
say it in
to
English,
light
but
the
English is
three
not my main
center
language.
Raptor
But
engines, and those are the engines that
there's
can
more
go
air
or
basically at
maneuver or
lower
point, and they do that to help
altitudes,
flip the ship
so you will see it's
until
not
the
slowing down
engines
yet,
point
but soon it
down
will.
so that it can land using the Raptor's thrust in the ocean. So that will happen after we get through this re-entry period. Again, now starting to see, and we also might start to see the flaps actuate a little bit here as the vehicle controls its roll during re-entry. That was one of the main learning points from Flight 3 was the roll control didn't work quite as well as we wanted it to. We learned that we needed some redundancies, so we added more roll control thrusters, and we'll see those in action.
Yeah, we are starting to slow down now,
That was a
by
Flight
only a little
3
bit, but
learning that
we are
worked better
slowing
on
down.
Flight 4 and still enabling that same design today.
Yeah.
Starship has passed through 85 kilometers altitude. Flaps now have control of the vehicle.
Flaps are now in control of the vehicle, so you can see them switch around a bit to control the roll of the vehicle, as they just said.
Everything is relative, right? So relative to this camera on the ship, it looks so calm and smooth, but the vehicle is traveling extremely fast. You can see the speed on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Yeah.
Starship is designed to land on Mars where there are no runways or other humans to help out. So we also want rapid reusability. So
Yes,
we're doing
that's
propulsive
true.
landing instead of a more traditional
Or
means like
more
parachutes.
soon
So
the
we will
lunar
use the
Starship,
engines on this
because
vehicle to help slow the vehicle down for a vertical landing.
it's now
Now, entry
gonna
is
be
going to
slowing
basically happen
faster
in
and
5
faster,
phases. The first is low
and in
drag.
a
That
while it's
lasts for
going to
about 3 minutes.
do a
Next
landing
is
burn,
high
but that's
heating, and that
not now.
beginning when heating increases.
Yeah, the
Above
next
the
you can see a bunch of
heat rate breakup
flumes,
limit.
flume,
That lasts for about 10 minutes. We then
bit
have
of
high
smoke,
dynamic pressure.
and
Starship will continue to slow down, experience
but
increased aerodynamic loads during
the
that
next
phase.
Starship mission
That
that's
will
really
happen before
going
reaching
to
Mach 1,
another planet or
about a
something
minute after.
Starship is
would
approaching
be the
the
lunar Starship.
heating phase of entry, remains on a nominal trajectory.
Okay, so that was phase 2.
Yeah, the
heat
next
is
is
small amount,
lunar
that I
Starship.
was
So
mentioning.
I don't
After
know
peak
how
heating is that dynamic pressure
Now, well,
around Mach 1, and that
it
will
won't have flaps
last about a
because
minute
yeah,
after leaving the
there's no
hypersonic
air on the
area,
moon,
and then we
so
go into
you wouldn't need
subsonic,
flaps.
and then of course landing burn.
But
Wow, what an incredible view.
yeah,
The colors are so amazing, and the colors actually also
it
tell you a
looks
little bit about the
absolutely
temperature
beautiful.
that the vehicle is seeing as well. So I think that's pretty cool that we get this amazing live visual.
Speaking of live visual, the flap.
The flap.
We have more views, more cameras on board Starship, as Dan mentioned a few minutes ago. We are hoping that all 4 flaps will stay more intact than they did last time. We did make
Because
some
last time
changes
they
to
just
the design
burned
in order to help enable
Starship
this.
is now experiencing peak heating, remains on a nominal
peak
entry
heating.
trajectory.
Wow, so we are peak heating.
Great news there.
We don't
that
know.
Starship
That's
is
great news.
continuing along the path
Yeah.
that we intended it to fly. You can
We
keep
are now
track with
slowing
how
down pretty
fast it's
fast.
going and how high it is above Earth using the display that is there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen.
It's now, we are 70 kilometers,
This is
and
really
we're not
cool.
dropping it
This
as fast
week,
as
a
we
lot
were
of those
before. So what I
improvements
think is happening
Flight
is
4 really came into action.
the Starship is
To get talked
basically
about. So it's called the
lifting
status
body at the
arrow.
moment.
Those
So
are kind of the
it's
poke out
producing
points
lift
on the flaps.
with its body
Those are
and
exposed to some
flaps
pretty
is what I
extreme
think.
heat
That's why it's
environments,
not
so we added some
going down a lot
additional,
right now.
basically made it a lot more robust for the thermal protection there. And we learned not just from visuals and stuff like that. We had those missing tile tests on Flight 4 where we intentionally left some out, kept in some backup layers. They're called ablatives, which means they just gradually melt
The
away and help dissipate the
ablative
heat.
layers
And we've
on
got
there.
an entire layer of ablative underneath the tiles on this Starship today. So
Yeah.
even if you get a gap in a tile or a tile is broken, anything like that, we've got essentially backup options. And what we're really trying to do today is do an on-target landing. As we lost the flaps, you lose a lot of your control, and so we didn't land right on target last flight. This time we're trying to really nail the target within just tens of meters, and that'll just be a really huge step on feeling like we're closer to bringing a ship back. Obviously, there's a lot of work before we get there, but we just caught a booster. We're gonna start looking real soon at when we can catch a ship.
Yeah, they just got a booster. So yeah, when
So the
they
view
have
on your
the landing more
left
precise,
is
they
as a
might
helicopter
start
passes by Dan, bound at Starbase.
experimenting with simulations
The
and
view
stuff
on your
to
left
maybe
is
try
a camera
and
that's positioned near
catch
the
the ship
nose
on a
of
future test flight.
of the ship, looking
That's what I
basically
think
down
they are
toward the
doing.
flap.
But
The view on the
obviously,
right
I
is
don't
looking
work at SpaceX,
perpendicular to the
so I
flap.
wouldn't
We're
know
looking
what
basically
exactly
bird's
they're
eye
doing.
view
But
onto the flap
I
on the left-hand
think
side,
that they are
and
going
then a worm's eye view from the
to.
side with
I
that
think
view
they're
on
going
the
to
right.
catch a Starship on
Yeah,
either
sorry about that, guys. Maverick just
flight
buzzed
6
the
or 7.
tower. He might be coming back, so.
Now, these
Yeah,
views
imagine if they just
brought
out
to
of
us
nowhere
by Starlink. It's
just
incredible
catch
that we have
the
this
ship.
high-definition capability. In fact, that view on the left.
Starship is now halfway through the peak heating phase of entry, remains on a good trajectory.
So great news there,
The
hearing
Starship
that we're
is
about
basically
halfway
just
through
gliding at the moment.
the peak heating phase. Like I said earlier, this lasts roughly 10-ish minutes. And we did hear earlier that the flaps have control of the vehicle, so also good news there. You know, it is incredible that we've basically had views the entire time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Although
Thanks to Starlink.
my
it truly
memory
is
did black
incredible
out a little
because
bit after booster catch, so I think we had views.
yeah,
But you know, all through the coast phase, we
Starlink
had
is
some
just so
beautiful
amazing.
views of planet Earth
It makes us able to
behind
just
the
see
ship
stuff
as
like
it was
this.
in its orbit.
Yeah, and I also do want to point out on your right-hand screen we've got a more
We've
encompassed
got
view
the
of the
roll
flap.
thrusters, I think.
As we watched in Flight 4, the hinge area was the area where we got a little bit of that burn through. This view, this new camera view on the ship will help us be able to visually see more of what's happening in that area. And again, we have improved our heating tiles,
shields,
and so hopefully
heating
we've protected
tiles.
the hinge a lot better this time.
Yeah, they've got like a bunch
But
of heat
again,
tiles
these views
around
are
the hinge, so I don't think it's
additional
going to burn
to
burn
the
through
data
this
that we
time.
get on these flight tests that help enable us kind of put the data that we get in the computer to the visuals that we see and try and align those and use that for improvements in the future.
Now, we heard a call out there saying that engine chill has begun.
Engine
this is an
chill has
indication
begun.
that we are
Wow.
starting to flow a little bit of the super cold liquid oxygen through the hardware, through the Raptor engine, specifically the turbo pumps, to help ensure that the hardware is at the right temperature before we give a full push,
We are
a
at
full
64
flow
kilometers.
of propellant at engine startup.
You can
all of that
see
to
the
say, we are
plasma.
getting closer to the landing burn.
Getting more.
We definitely are. And again, if
more
you look
plasma.
at the bottom right hand of your screen, you can see the altitude that the ship is, and it has been slowly making its way closer and closer to Earth. We're currently at about 63 kilometers
63
from
kilometers,
planet
yeah.
Earth, and you'll see that number trend lower and lower as we get closer and continue through this reentry.
Yeah, this is going to go on for a little, actually a while longer. We have about 10 minutes or so, roughly, before we execute the landing, the ignition for the landing burn, starting with the landing flip. So we're making a controlled reentry. This is one of the primary objectives for Starship today, is to demonstrate another controlled reentry, even more controlled than what we saw on Flight 4. And so far, that is looking good.
And then as we start to really get lower, we're going to start seeing the atmosphere's effects start to take place, and that's when we'll be dropping our speed down closer to the speed of sound. You'll see the flaps start to maneuver. We were able to do a landing burn on Flight 4, which kind of caught all of us off guard. It was pretty incredible after seeing the flaps survive through. And we're going to try and do another one on this flight today. We tweaked it a little bit, so we're going to try and splash down at a little bit of a gentler angle.
Reentry heating and plasma really
hit the water and fall
you
over.
get a little bit of
The goal with
grain
that is try and keep
on
the
the
ship
camera.
intact, and then if we're able to then get some additional video of it, again, that's just more data, and everything we can see, everything we can get extra, like a couple extra seconds or minutes of data coming from the ship after
Starship has
splashdown.
passed through the peak heating phase of flight, approaching maximum entry dynamic pressure.
We're almost we're approaching
coming up is
re-entry
Max Q Part 2, where
Max Q Part 2, yeah.
We're going to hit kind of that part of the curve where we're still moving really fast and the atmosphere is just dense enough that we're feeling the most pressure, but hopefully we're going to start feeling a little bit less heat now.
Looks like we got more views of each of the flaps on the ship as it's making its way back down to Earth.
A lot of cameras on the flaps. We're looking at the flaps.
And we did pass through peak heating and still got really good views throughout that whole period.
We are
Typically,
through peak
during
heating.
the highest heat on the vehicle, we tend to build up a lot of plasma, and that's typically when we would lose, connection or views of the vehicle. But again, with Starlink, we were able to get some live views throughout that entire process there.
And we're coming up. We'll start hearing a couple more milestones in about 4 minutes or so when we start getting down to like the transonic, the subsonic, when we're starting to move closer to and beneath the speed of sound. And I mean, we're getting live views, we're getting live data. We've got a couple additional tests on this one today where we left off some missing tiles again to test some additional backup layers. We also have, I don't know if we can still quite see them in this view, but you may have noticed we had some kind of silvery looking tiles on Starship as well.
Yeah, we noticed those a bit before launch.
Pretty much standard tiles, but they were wrapped in aluminum, and it was a pretty simplistic, straightforward one where aluminum starts to melt at roughly the same temperature where steel starts to lose its strength, not necessarily melt. And so if we see stuff melting, we know.
The flap is.
We know what our steel is going to be.
I think there's a little bit of burn through in the flap.
59 minutes since launch, should be coming up on transonic and everything just about 3 minutes.
Will the flap be okay?
Now the views here, we have coverage of all 4 flaps. We can see, so for those that perhaps didn't catch a glimpse of the vehicle before liftoff, there are 2 flaps at the forward end and 2 flaps at the aft end. The larger camera view that is there on the right-hand side of your screen, that is a view of one of the aft end or the bottom end flaps. We can start to see some heat buildup and peeking through on one of the flaps there in the top left-hand corner of your screen.
Yeah, we can really see. I don't know if it's a burn. No, it doesn't seem like it's burning through. It's just orange because it's heating up that
Once again,
much.
Starship now at T plus 1 hour and 9 seconds into
This really
its
looks
flight today,
insane.
re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Currently about 45 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, now 44. We are targeting a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean, about, northwest-ish of Australia. And we are attempting to, as we did on Flight 4, perform a flip maneuver as well as
Starship is at maximum entry dynamic pressure.
Maximum entry Q. Max Q.
All right, so that is great news there. Like Dan said earlier, this is basically Max Q Part 2.
Yes.
So this is the greatest amount of aerodynamic loads that the vehicle will experience during its flight. It's coming back through the Earth's atmosphere. It was above the Earth's atmosphere in space where there was no friction. We can obviously see heat
40 kilometers.
as evidence of that friction buildup. The atmosphere is actually helping to slow the vehicle down. If you're watching the telemetry in the bottom right-hand side,
Cameras
right-hand corner of
are
your screen, you can
dying
see
a little bit.
decelerating rapidly.
There we go. We are now almost transonic. We're
now the 4 flaps
really
on
slowing
the
down
ship
now.
help
Like
steer
really
the
slowing
vehicle,
down.
and one of the main objectives for the ship today is to demonstrate controlled re-entry during this phase of flight, this re-entry phase.
Yeah, and we have 6 engines on ship, but we only need 3 of them, the 3 sea-level engines.
Because the other 3 are
we will have that
vacuum
flip maneuver
in-vac
happen
engines.
very close to touching down for splashdown. We'll do that flip maneuver, ignite those engines, slow the vehicle down immediately.
We are
and
at
then
30
have
kilometers.
what we call a soft splashdown in the water. It's probably going to feel a little bit harder on the top of the surface of the water, but it'll look pretty gentle.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, we hope to have some more views even of that phase of the flight. So fingers crossed that we can we can bring those to you. We are hoping to splash down softer than we did last time on Flight 4. Right now, Starship continuing to make its descent back to planet Earth.
Almost.
Mach 2 remains on a good trajectory.
Mach 2, yes.
All right, great news there. That tells us that the vehicle is traveling twice more than.
Yeah, we can see the flap moving there.
So we will then,
you
the
see the
next
flap
call out that we'll
moving
hear
up and
is
down.
that it is, traveling about the speed of sound, and then we will hear a call out that it is. That will be the call out that it is transonic, and then
20
we will
kilometers.
hear another call out saying that it is
We are
subsonic,
now.
meaning going
We
slower
are.
than the speed of sound.
Here we go.
Starship is transonic.
Transonic.
So at this.
There we go.
So at this point in time, we say transonic because certain parts of the vehicle, like the flap that you see on your screen, might be experiencing airflow faster than the speed of sound, while other parts of the ship may be experiencing airflow.
Starship is in the subsonic belly flop.
And we are subsonic, and we are in the belly flop position.
Slower than the speed of sound, so subsonic.
Here we go.
The crowd here at Mission Control Hawthorne also getting excited, just like us. We're awaiting a water landing. We are going to reignite the 3 engines to perform that flip maneuver, and we're basically about a minute and a half, away from the landing flip.
Yeah, the crowd's getting excited here as we get closer and closer to splashdown.
We are only at 500
Again, just about a minute
kilometers
away
an
from
hour
the
now.
expected splashdown, so we should see
9
a lot
kilometers.
happening coming up here shortly. We're currently having a view of one of the flaps, and it is
8
a little bit dark on
kilometers.
your screen, but hopefully we'll get some good views of the ship as it makes that flip maneuver and
7
touchdown
kilometers.
for splashdown.
Yeah,
yeah, guys, we saw that speed drop like a rock.
6
so
kilometers.
we're doing a belly flip right now, or a belly flop right now. That's what's kind of, if you saw the high altitude campaign,
5 kilometers.
the unique thing about how Starship comes back. So we've bled off pretty much all of the speed we're going to. We're essentially at terminal velocity.
4 kilometers.
Starship is at 5 kilometers altitude, remains on target.
We are almost starting the landing burn here.
Five to go.
The belly flop
Coming up
maneuver.
soon. Landing burn.
3 kilometers. Here we go. We are on 2 kilometers.
2 kilometers away.
Starship is on target. Approaching landing burn startup.
1
So
kilometer.
keep an eye on the bottom right-hand side of your screen as well. That will be the indicator when the Raptor engines ignite, if we are unable to see that illumination ourselves.
Landing burn startup.
Here we go. Landing burn is starting. We have done the belly flip maneuver. Here we go.
You can see the water just behind the ship.
And we have a successful splashdown of ship 30.
An incredible view. I think it is safe to say we have a ship in the water.
Touchdown!
That is a live
Ooh.
ocean surface.
No.
What an incredible end to Starship's
And there it goes.
journey.
It went up in
A live
flames.
view from a buoy that we had out at the landing zone.
I think it exploded.
Of ship landing just about on target as they were calling out.
That was amazing. And
Ooh.
we were not intending to recover any of the ship's hardware, so that was the best ending that we could have hoped for.
It's burning. It's exploding. Yeah, well, it landed, so that's pretty cool.
I don't think we're going to be able to get a ton of extra video of the heat shield, but we hit the target. We hit the target. Yeah.
Yes, we hit target.
I mean, you know we hit the target because we had these buoys placed in a pretty specific spot, so wow. What a day. I feel like that's what I get to say. What a day.
What a day.
I mean,
What an amazing day for SpaceX and Starship.
With that launch, we were able to lift off towards the end of our window, 7:25 a.m. Central Time. 33 out of 33 Raptors in the way uphill. Successful hot stage. Booster came back. We watched it come down right behind us. Watched it get caught. And like, that broke my brain for a while. I'm really happy we had coast for a bit, but that's first ever booster catch, major step on the way to rapid reusability, and ship just gave us one heck of a show, making it through a controlled re-entry this time, flaps intact, made it down to the water. Hey, starships were meant to fly, and it sure as hell flew
Starships
today, so
are meant to fly.
let's get ready for the next one. Over to you guys.
Hopefully it won't take a lot, as much as time as it took for flight 5 to fly for flight 6. Hopefully FAA will approve flight 6 faster.
And we'll also like to thank
Well, I am pretty happy with FAA now, since instead of late November, they decided to give clearance for today, the 13th of October, 2024.
And of course for future Starship news. Today was amazing, but the SpaceX action isn't over yet. Soon Falcon Heavy will launch NASA's Europa Clipper, and we're also going to be returning Dragon back to Earth with NASA's Crew 8 astronauts. So congratulations again to the SpaceX team. What an amazing launch and an even cooler catch. Thank you for watching, but we're going to leave you with an awesome recap of what has been the most epic day.
Yeah, let's see the recap. Yeah, the catch there of booster 11, I think, or 12. The launch. Absolutely amazing. Oh, the angles. Wow. Truly amazing. Yeah, I thought it hit the tower there, but no, it definitely didn't. It was a very successful catch. Well, I guess that's it for today, guys. I hope you like the stream with one of the most successful Mechazilla moonwalk. It was a very successful day for SpaceX and for the space industry as a whole. And like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with Europa Clipper. Bye bye.